Hey Rakshita,
Hi Divya,
how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing great as well. Thank you. All right. So today we're going to have some um, fun talking about why obviously we shouldn't be translating from any other language to English, right? All right. So we'll just wait a bit for people to join. I think Pradeep has already joined us. He says good evening. Hi Pradeep. It's so nice to see you again.
Hey Pradeep, we love having you.
Mhm. Let's just put up a comment here so everyone knows what we're talking about. Why two? Okay, so let's start off with the most basic question. Why translating is bad for English beginners, at least, right? So, Rakshita, what do you have to say about this?
So the thing is that we usually tend to think in a certain language. Now, whatever language is more comfortable for me, whatever language is a dominant one for me, I would have a tendency to, first start thinking in that particular language. Because you would have realized whenever you're thinking, most of the times you're thinking in a language. You would mostly have zero thoughts without any language,
Mhm.
right? So we start to think and we think in our dominant language. Now, for most people who have just started learning English, English certainly is not the dominant language, right?
Yeah.
Hence, there's a tendency to come up with an answer in a different language and then translate it to English. So, and that is where we go wrong. That is where the lag is. That is where the grammatical errors start to, tumble in. So we try and ignore it as much as possible, but ignoring, we've seen, is not the easiest thing to do.
Yes, I think it becomes quite evident to other people.
It does.
Yeah. So I think in this case, what the most important thing to do is obviously to make sure that you have an environment around you where the people around you or the content around you is very, very focused on the language you want to learn. And this is not just about English. English is a language, and learning English is like it's like a skill, right? So what we're talking about today is the foundation of how to learn a skill, when in this particular case it's how to learn any language. So you could want to learn Spanish, German, Italian, anything, right? And the basic form of learning a language is obviously being around it. And one example I love using with my learners whenever they ask me this question is, I keep telling them that, hey, when you were born, you were not born with a language, right? So if you're born into a family that speaks in Hindi, Marwadi, Marathi, Bhojpuri, anything, right? You don't just learn it as soon as you're born. You learn it because you're surrounded by that particular language through your parents, cousins, friends. All of them, they're all speaking that language, and that's how we start with the basic words like mama, dada. So same way when you're starting off from scratch in English, I think the most important thing is to have an environment where a lot of people are speaking in that particular language, and mind you, correctly, not incorrectly. And we'll get to that point. We have a lot of examples to share with you. We will be doing a small quiz soon. So we want you to be completely active in chat and make sure you answer some of the questions that we ask you. Okay. So one thing I need to tell you is this is what we call shadowing, by the way. Shadowing is a method where you try to imitate someone who is doing something in front of you. This is how, again, this works in a lot of skills. It can work in sports where, how we say youngsters get to work with talented, cricketers, let's say, right? So I'm so sorry, I'm not really good at cricket, but let's say some very young cricketer gets to train or work with Sachin Tendulkar when they are playing together in Mumbai Indians, right? That's how the young cricketer learns Sachin's skills, because he's shadowing him. He sees Sachin do some things, whether it's how he bats, how his body language is, and he notices that why this is a good thing, why Sachin's technique is better than the other cricketers in the world, or his timing, or it could be a various number of things. And that's exactly what we need to do when we're learning English, at least in this situation. that we need to notice what we are doing differently and what other fluent English speakers are doing differently and shadow them. Okay, this is why we constantly tell you read books, watch content like YouTube. YouTube is easier because they're shorter videos and you get to control what you're watching. But obviously, movies and shows are also one way to do this. We have a couple of questions, Rakshita. Let me just try and reading them. Try reading them. Translating in mind and then speaking is not right because it takes a lot of time. And if we start thinking English, we can speak a lot fluently. Soham Chaudhary has messaged that, and that is absolutely correct. The second one is if we start thinking in English, indirectly we train our brain to articulate our ideas for different circumstances. That's written brilliantly, by the way. Whoever's written that, there's not a single mistake in that sentence. But who will tell whatever we are thinking is right or not? That's why we have speakers on the platform to tell you whether what you're doing is correct or not. So just remember, repetition is important for practice and perfection and fluency, obviously. But you can repeat something that is incorrect and learn things that are incorrect. All right. So make sure what you're doing or what you're practicing is correct. Okay. Rakshita, I think I remember you mentioning some of the examples of how translation is used in non-native speaking countries, like where English is not the first language. Can you give us some examples of sentences that we use?
So, in places where English is not the first language, what happens is when we as people start to speak English, our way of speaking English is slightly, very close to how our own language sounds, like in terms of syntax and grammar. So, there are a lot of fun examples. And this is the quiz part that Devyam was talking to us about, right? So, this is what we're going to quiz you on. We want you to try and tell us if there is something wrong with any particular sentence that I'm saying. And if yes, what is the mistake? And how, if you know how to correct it, how would you ideally correct that particular sentence? All right. So the first one is that only. She's very arrogant.
Okay, that only. She's very arrogant. That is the sentence. So, can anyone tell us what the correct way to say that is? Let's say you're complaining about someone. Okay, I've said something to Rakshita, and she says,
That only.
"Yeah." Can anyone come up with something? We have a lot of comments coming in, by the way, not related to this question, but in general.
Yes, we have a lot of wonderful people with us today. Thank you for commenting.
Soham, Adbhut Bharat, Suresh, Yashwant, hello. Firasat, I'm so sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. Rural Talks, English of English, everyone, welcome to the channel. I don't think we're getting any responses for the question. Can you repeat it? Yeah.
So basically, the sentence is that only she is very arrogant. So if I was saying this particular sentence in Hindi, so I would start, we usually start sentences with "Wahi to," she is very arrogant. It's that only. It's the exact that only that has been
That's a
died.
literal translation because people think that, okay, I'm just going to translate each word and then just frame the sentence. I think that's such an incorrect way to do that because people need to realize that, A, B, C in English, if you translate it word to word, it'll sound CBA in any other language, right? So please be careful. Okay, we have some response. Soham said, that's true. She's very arrogant. Rakshita?
That sounds like a very appropriate correction.
Okay, I'll tell you all the response, all the answers, and then you can tell me which is the correct version. Sheikh Javed Basha said, she's very arrogant. That's it. Okay. Pradeep had asked to repeat the question, and I think we've already done that. Sakshi said, agreed, she is very arrogant.
Yes, actually.
Sheikh Javed again, she said, she's very arrogant. That. I think that is incorrect, but we'll give you the correct way to do it. Vishwas, I see your message. I see your question. We'll get to it in a minute. We'll just clear this one first. Okay.
All right. So Sakshi has gotten very close to the correct answer. So that only, and by this person, is being used as, a way of affirming to whatever the previous person would have said. They're like, exactly. So exactly is a word that you can use, which would be very close to what you were trying to actually say in English. Sorry, in your native language, the one that has been translated from. So agreed, or exactly, I agree with you. She is really arrogant. Right? So instead of that only, you can replace it with this. But a lot of interesting answers. And in fact, that only, some of the people have just removed that only and said the rest of the sentence, which is not that wrong actually, because most of the people use words like that only as a filler. Right? So that only in this sentence is not extremely consequential to the meaning of the sentence. So if you're really doubtful whether whether or not you can correct this, or whether or not you're sounding grammatically correct, you can sometimes try removing that part of the sentence and see for yourself, does the sentence still make sense? If it does, well, then you can just remove it for the time being, so you know that you're correct.
Yeah, perfect. So we've had some more responses. Let me just see that. Not only she is arrogant, but also ... I think that Vandana said that. She is very arrogant. Rural Talks has said this. The only thing, she is arrogant. Kunal has said this. Her attitude is very arrogant. I think that's a little different from what we're trying to say. Just to clarify, what we are going to do is we're going to give you the correct way to say that. So when this is very common, I see this in a lot of my friends, that only, I did that now. When we're casually talking to our friends, we get a little lazy when it comes to the grammar part of English. So what we should do is we should always try to simplify the sentence. Okay. So where is this example? Yeah. So that was what I said. She was very arrogant. That is the correct way to say that. Okay. Obviously, there is no one correct answer. All right. Just remember that when you're trying to say it in English, ask yourself that have you ever heard someone use this sentence? Okay. So if you think about it, I've seen a lot of American movies, or I've seen a lot of shows that are based in English. Have you ever heard someone say that only? Can you imagine an American actor saying that only? No, I think that is only something that we see. I don't want to say India, but like I think countries where English is not like a native language, right? So it gets a little you have to be very careful about that. Okay. All right, should we move on to the next example? I think if we're clear with this.
Sure. I think I love how people are responding to the examples.
Yes, I'm loving the
interesting. All right. Would you want to give the next example, or shall I give one?
Go for it.
All right. So the one that I have is he's away. So one of the most common ones
He's
that
angry. Sorry, that's my handwriting. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Is myself, and then people say their name. So myself, Rakshita, and then they ask also yourself. So what do you think? Is this incorrect, or do you think this is correct? And if this is incorrect, what indeed would be the correct way to do this?
Okay, guys. The question is, how do you introduce yourself in a correct way? And this is the most common way that I have seen. I've seen a lot of videos or interviews where people start the sentence by saying, myself Suresh, myself Karan, I am from India, I'm from Mumbai, So how do you think you should introduce yourself? And I'm not saying just in interviews, in general, even when you're meeting new people through friends, what is the correct way to do that? Again, so many comments. I'm getting overwhelmed actually. I'm getting so confused about what to answer first.
Soham has given an interesting one. He says, my name is Soham. What's yours?
That's good. It's quite simple. It's nice.
Kunal Anand is saying, I am Kunal, which is also a great way to start. And some of the people have correctly understood, like Pradeep and What's Crazy is the name of the channel, that the sentence is indeed grammatically incorrect.
Guys, feel free to introduce yourself in chat because we can't see your names. We can only see what your YouTube name is. So even though we don't want to call you What's Crazy, we don't know what to call you. But I love the name though. Like it's very interesting.
Yes, and a lot of people have just simply replied with their names. And that is very, that's very true. I think you can just keep it simple like that, especially with introductions, because it's more important that the other person understands your name. Also, the, pronunciation of your name, that's what we're aiming at. So an introduction needn't be that complicated.
Yeah. So I think Queen Eve has message saying myself Sandhya and I am from Odisha. I'm assuming that's your real name. So Sandhya, that is not the correct way to introduce yourself. I think that is something. Now I'll tell you why this issue has come up. Okay. So when we look at people who are teaching us something, right? So let's say you go to school and you see your English teacher, and I'm not insulting anyone in any way. I'm just giving you an example. Let's say your parents or your tuition teacher or someone has done this. They've introduced themselves like, hi, myself Vidhi, myself anything, any other name. So what happens is when we look at this authority figure, we assume they know more than us. Okay, which is it's a fair assumption, but don't just blindly follow something that has been taught to you. Okay, if you think it sounds a little off, if you think you could improve on that, just remember you have the knowledge of the entire world in the palm of your hand. Just in your palm, just google it. Just google it. It's that simple. So google something like myself a good way to introduce myself, right? It sounded funny, but that is correct. That is grammatically correct what I said. But just google it, ask yourself, is it correct? Ask your friends, ask your teachers that are you sure this is the correct way to do it, right? So this translation happens because we talk to our cousins, our parents, our relatives, and they say these things like, myself, this and this. They will also say things like, I have a couple of examples here. What is the time in your watch? Right? I think that's a literal translation from "Aapki ghadi mein kitne baje hai," right? So I hope most of you understand Hindi as well. But "Aapki ghadi mein kitne baje hai" doesn't become "What is the time in your watch?" Okay, Rakshita, do you want to tell us what's the correct version of that sentence is?
You can simply ask, what's the time?
Yeah.
Your watch is not needed. See, in most of these errors, I was looking at some of the sentences, and the longer in the sentence in most of these sentences, the part that has no consequence is mostly the part where we're going wrong. So, what's the time could be just the simplest and like the most foolproof way of asking someone, what's the time? Or could
Yeah.
you please, help me with the time?
Yes.
More polite.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Sheikh Javed Basha has correctly said it. I am Sheikh Javed Basha. I am from Hyderabad. Simple. Okay. All of these people have given correct. I think they got the point of what we are trying to say. Bhavya said, hi, it's me, Bhavya. What's your name? Very nice, very simple. It's very good. Okay. What else? What's the time? Yeah, they're all giving us good answers. Okay. My name is Sheikh. I'm from Hyderabad. Yep, correct.
Harshi Joshi has mentioned, what's the time by your watch, and that is actually correct. And
Yeah.
it's very similar to what we were actually trying to say in Hindi. So that's a wonderful correction that you've given. And yes, Harshi, it's that's a very trending way also to ask someone. It's like a cool thing.
Just the correction, it's what's the time by your watch, not what's time. Okay. I think before Harshi, Kunal has said the correct thing. What is the time by your watch? That is absolutely correct. Okay. All right. I think one person said they want to join us, and I think we have time to do that. Anshu Sharma, if I'm not wrong. Anshu Sharma. There's so many comments. I'll have to scroll up. Give me a second, guys. Sorry. I'm loving the activity here, all the questions that they're asking. Anshu Sharma, if you want to join us, or if anyone wants to join us, just send us a message on Instagram. You can go to our official Clappingo page, and we will make sure we send you the link of this Zoom call, and you can join us, and we can have a conversation with you for 5 minutes, and you can ask us all of your doubts instead of putting it in chat. We would love to see some new faces over here. Soham also wants to join. That's nice. Just send us a message on Instagram. Just DM Clappingo and say, hey, I would like to join the meeting. And someone from our team will send you the link. All right. Moving on, guys, translation. Rakshita, you want to take us to the next point?
Yes, please. So we've discussed this enough, and I think a lot of you would have heard this a lot. If anybody was trying to help you with your English, they would constantly tell you to think in English, right? We're always like, think in English, please try and think in English. Surround yourself with English so that you can think in English. The reason why we ask you to do that is because when you push yourself and start thinking in English, that translation part gets automatically eliminated. So if I am already trying and pushing myself to think in English, as soon as you throw a question at me, I would immediately respond in English, and it will become more like an automated autofill sort of a thing on my part, rather than a thing that takes a lot of effort. That I need to process, and then I take time, and then I fumble, right? So all of that can be removed. And I know it sounds really easy for me to go ahead and say, start thinking in English. But if it was that easy to rewire, if only it was that easy to rewire our brains, quite difficult. So we'll give you a few tips, a few simple things that you can do and you can start doing today so that you can prevent yourself from, translating things. So I think Divyam will help you with us a couple of tips here.
Yeah. So like I already mentioned, these are things that we've already mentioned here and there. Just remember, to summarize it, we would say that obviously watch content that helps you, basically verified sources, like people who are actually native English speakers, which is, shows and movies from America, from, UK, right? Good examples would be, you can watch Friends. That's evergreen. I think everyone loves Friends. My wife just started watching Friends, by the way. So we have these marathons where we just finish one season a day. Like, it's just crazy, and she's loving it. Like, I watched it in college, and I think with my friends we all used to do these. We used to use these dialogues to kind of make fun of each other, and now my wife is on it and I just feel so nostalgic about it. But yeah, Friends is a great show, guys. I think some of you have already watched it. You can watch Sherlock. I think it's a little complicated, it's a little confusing sometimes, but a good example from the UK is Sherlock. If you want to keep it simple, for guys or girls, it's pretty common nowadays to watch like car shows. So Top Gear is a show where a lot of new cars are introduced. So let's say Toyota or Chevrolet has launched a new car. So what happens is, on the show, Top Gear, or I think there's another one, I can't remember. But there are shows that will review the car, right? So if you are into cars, you can go do that. If you're into something completely different, like cooking or dance, right, or talent shows, so they have a lot of talent shows. They have a lot of cooking shows like MasterChef Australia, MasterChef. I think that every country has a MasterChef now, I think. So you can just pick one that you like, some accent that you understand. Okay. My recommendation to you is, please keep your subtitles on. Okay. You don't want to get confused when you're watching these shows. You need to understand how they talk, how their culture works. So language is not just about the words they use, but it's also about the culture and how they communicate with each other, right? um, it'll help you a lot because it'll help you avoid translations. Okay, you will get examples of how to use these things, how to basically have a conversation. And obviously there are lots more cultural references that you'll understand. You'll get a lot of talking points when you're meeting strangers. You can have a conversation that, hey, you know this is how a Wellington is cooked, or this is how I like my chicken cooked, just general knowledge facts. Other than that, did I miss any points? Yeah, shadowing. I think this is where clapping go sessions work really well, because you can come in here and you can just talk to your speaker and ask them, hey, how do we do this? What is the correct way to do that? Rakshita, just give us one or two more tips if you have something in mind, and we have someone waiting in the room. We'll
Sure.
admit them once you're done.
So, I learned this really fun thing from one of my fellow tutors at Clapingo. His name is Kanish. And so he gives these tips to most of the people who, want to start thinking in English. So a thing that you can always try and do is, we always have a voice inside our head that's constantly talking to us. So he tells you to change that voice and to change the language of that particular voice and make that English. So let's say I'm very thirsty. Right now, I'm thinking I'm very thirsty. I want to get up and get a glass of water. So I'll say it aloud and I'll say it in English before I do it. Okay. I'm so sleepy. I'm so tired of all the work I have to do. Constantly thinking it, say it aloud and say it in English.
To narrate your life, basically.
Yeah, narrate your life. Be your own narrator. Make it as funky as possible. So what that'll do is it'll first push you to talk a lot. So you know how we constantly say you can talk to yourself? This is one of the things which will make it much more easier for you to talk to yourself. And it'll basically, be like a sort of thing that you do with yourself. Like you'll have a lot of fun, trust me. I have the most interesting conversations with my own self. So try it out and you'll love it. We just have one, we had one very interesting comment that I wanted to address. So Sham here has asked, I'm a beginner. What should be my daily routine, while I'm learning English? And that I feel is a very interesting question because
I
I'm
have an idea.
Yeah.
Let's ask Ravi what he thinks about this.
Lovely. Let's do that.
Okay, we're going to be calling Ravi to the room now. Just give it a second. I think it's connecting. Hello, Ravi, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, Ravi, can you hear us? Hello, can you hear us? Okay, I think there was some technical issue. I'm sure he'll join us again. Rakshita, you can go ahead with the comment, please.
Yes, so I'm personally really big on routines, Sham. So I'd love to help you with like a generic one that you can try and follow. So my go-to is basically have a couple of things, like a little bit of everything. Because when you're a beginner, you know that you want to improve in almost all aspects, right? Spoken English. So rather than going one step at a time, because that sometimes confuses things, I would want you to sort of, be like, be at your toes when it comes to all aspects of it. So let's say try and work on at least 2 new words a day. All right, try and have 2 words of a day. So mostly try and make sentences with those 2 words as much as possible, as much as you physically can. Say that word as many times as you can. All right, next try and switch things up. So one of the places where people often go wrong is they become very repetitive. So let's say if I'm talking to myself, I just keep talking to myself. I don't bring in anything new. So it'll get boring. And then I wouldn't feel like doing it. So switch things up, get creative. All right. And when I say get creative, do things like, I used to often rap to English music because that pushed me to A, speak faster, B, take a good look at the lyrics because there's almost zero music, right? So get creative, get as innovative as possible, and
Hello.
pick at least 3 activities. I think we have Ravi with us.
Yes, Ravi, I think I'm so sorry. You're on mute. I'm so sorry. I'm pressing these buttons. I'm so sorry, Ravi. Please unmute. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, no problem.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, actually there's a network problem at my side. So that's why I was having problem before. Initially.
Okay. Will
Hello,
it be
can you hear
possible
me?
for you to switch on your video?
Right, not trying, but there's a network issue. Let me
Network
try
issue. Okay.
1 second. I'm trying to connect through hotspot. Some other.
No problem.
But for the time we can continue with this, I think.
Okay. So Ravi, we had a very interesting question. Someone asked us, if you want to improve your English, what should your daily schedule look like? Or what activities? Let me just reframe the question. What activities do you add to your daily routine that will, in small increments, help you improve your English in the long term?
Okay, actually, this is the same question which I used to ask to myself few years
Yes.
ago.
Please
That
tell
how
us what
can I
answer
improve?
you got. We are really curious to know this.
Okay, so there was one my senior. Currently, I am pursuing my engineering. So when I joined my college in the first year, so I had an interaction with my senior who was in fourth year. So he told me that there is no one who can help you. You are the only one you can help yourself. So so indirectly, what he suggested me just start observing yourself, that how you are speaking, and how if someone is good in English, so how he is framing a sentences, and just pick up those sentences which are interesting and which you like most, and just start using those sentences in your conversation. So gradually you will learn that how it is, that how you have to make a sentence for this condition and for this situation, and you have to just join them. So just I started observing my teachers, that what sentences they are using to deliver during a lecture, and how my some friends are using. Then I also started observing that commonly sent there was a repetition of sentence. So I think I can say that you start observing others, that how they are framing sentence for a same situation.
Wow, that is so cool. By the way, Ravi, let me just remind you, you spoke really well, and it reminded me that we are looking for a brand ambassador, and I think that invite goes to everyone who's watching
Okay.
us right now. You can go to our Instagram page. We have a post put up, and you can see the instructions over there and the rules and how to apply for it. So feel free. I really recommend you to make a video, put it, send it through, so your application can be reviewed. Okay.
That sounds so
Yeah, sure.
interesting.
Actually, due to this COVID situation, I am at my hometown, and it is actually a village. So there is network connectivity issue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm not able to turn on the videos.
No, that's
Otherwise, it will
completely
get
fine.
lost.
That's
Sorry.
completely fine. No problem. No, that's not a problem. I just meant to say that you spoke really well and you can apply for this. You have a chance to win, I guess. So I'm just reminding you that you can do that. Okay. I hope to
Oh,
see your
yeah, sure, sure.
application.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
not reviewing the applications, but I'm just saying, like, I hope you apply for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Definitely, I will apply for the same.
Okay. Thank you for your answer, Ravi. Now, one more thing. Do you have any questions for us today that we can help you with?
Yeah. I asked in the chat was as well that when that today's topic that we are discussing, that we should think in English. So then my question is again the same, that who will tell us that whether we are thinking is right or wrong? Sometimes what happens, that I think that this is right, but after a couple of days, or after few months, or even what happens after so many days, I got to know, oh, this was a wrong sentence I used to speak in front of other, and what he will be thinking about me right now.
So, Ravi, I personally feel that this is where platforms like Clappingo can really help you, because all those sentences that you would be framing by yourself to yourself, let's say that very day you have a session with a tutor and you say that particular sentence to that tutor, and then they correct you. So then you will know that this particular thing that you said was slightly incorrect, and what was the thing that you needed to correct there. Another thing that I personally have a firm belief in is that when you watch a lot of content in English, when you consume a lot of content in English, as Divya mentioned, when you surround yourself with English, you get a very clear idea of what correct English sounds like. And that is a very specific thing. For those of for those of us who have been watching and consuming a lot of content, you would yourself know. You realize when you make a mistake, you know when something is sounding slightly off, so that you will develop that particular sort of a perspective or mindset. After you've consumed enough content in English, you'll know when something doesn't sound right. You'll know when it sounds off, just like you do in your native language. Like, let's say somebody is trying to talk to you in your native language, you'll immediately know whether they're grammatically correct or not. Whether you know the grammatical rule behind that thing, that's not important. You will know whether it's correct or not. Similarly, when you get habitual to the language, you will have a sort of an intuition, like you'll realize that this particular thing sounds off. So you can definitely rely on that gut feeling also. Does this help with your question?
Yeah, so definitely. I have one more question. If you don't mind, I can ask.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I was telling, and you mentioned that what we do, that we start recognizing the sentences for a different condition, that we should use this sentence for such condition. But suddenly what happens if we are not aware of that situation, and we have not worked on that circumstances? So how should I tackle that situation? uh, I don't know about that situation, and I have to converse, I have to speak in English for that situation. and before that I have never listened anything about that thing. So how should I start, or how should I tackle? So do you want to give me some
See,
suggestion for this?
let me just tell you something really cool. If you look at Clappingo as a platform, right? It seems quite simple, like it's a platform, we connect on Zoom call, but it took us a really long time to come up with this curriculum. Okay. It took us really long to figure out how your journey as a learner will be, how we can give you the most value. So, and Ravi, you have taken sessions. I think I know I've seen you take sessions. I think the best part is, and you will realize this, you don't know this already, that we try to tackle this issue by giving you session documents, right? And if you have been through the session documents, you'll know that we come up with the weirdest topics, and we let our speakers come up with the weirdest examples and situations and hypotheticals, if I'm not wrong. Have you noticed that?
Yes, yes, but actually, I took your session for for a very short period of time. After that, I couldn't continue. But the number of sessions, or the situations are, I think, limitless. So we cannot conclude. That's what I am asking you in that sense.
Exactly. So I think we are also stuck with in terms of how much time we have to provide value to you, because we can cover like 4 session topics in 20 minutes, but then how much will you actually learn, or how much more confident will you be about that topic, right? So we are also limited in how much we can offer you. That's why whenever we have demo sessions, we recommend to our speaker that you stay with us for 3 months, even if it's 1 session a week, right? Stay with us for 3 months, stay with us if possible for 6 months, although we do understand there are lots of variables and lots of reasons why they can't do that. We try to make sure that they go through all of these things and they experience it here first, where it's safe. So Ravi, you already know this, and I think most of our viewers already know this. It's a one-on-one class. So what we try to do is, let's say Rakshita and I are there, and I'm the learner, and Rakshita is the speaker. I can make as many mistakes as I want and not feel bad that everyone's going to look at me and judge me. Right? It's a safe space. So what happens is, when you're talking about finance, and I have no clue about finance, I'll tell her I don't know anything. I know XYZ about stock. And if she has the knowledge, she can tell me, okay, this is how it works. Go research this. There's a documentary on this. Go watch that. There's a show on National Discovery Channel that explains all this. So all of these things is how we try to give you the value and try to let you know what is the best way to tackle this situation in the future when you talk to someone. So what happens is, you've already practiced. Your brain remembers that, okay, I've already done this, so I don't need to worry so much, because it's not like a new scary situation. You're not that nervous anymore, right? Ravi, you can hear us, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope that a little bit answers your question about how we are trying to tackle it. But in general, even if it is not at Clappingo, and we're not doing any sort of promotion here. If you don't want to, if you can't join Clappingo, that's completely fine. Just make sure you put yourself in uncomfortable situations and talk to people about new things. Right. So tomorrow, when you're with your friends, talk about the stock market. Talk about an article that you read about some crime that happened in America in the 1950s. Just make sure you talk
Okay,
about a
okay.
lot of things that you don't generally talk about. That is how we get the experience, right? It's like playing games, like
So I need to come out my comfortable zones. That I
exactly.
should start working other areas as well.
Exactly. Let's say tomorrow you move to Africa for whatever reason, for a job or anything, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Cricket may not be that famous in Africa, but then there they have different games. So you will have to go and try those games, right? So it's like trying new flavors and trying new things all the time. So make sure you
Yes,
are
yes,
getting out of that comfort zone and doing things differently. Okay.
yes, yes. Sure. Thank you. Very good advice.
Thank you, Ravi. It was so nice seeing you. Thank you so much for your time. We have one more learner coming up right now. She's waiting in the room. So we'll let her in.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much.
Okay.
Good evening, Ravi. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, so we have Mrs. Vandana coming up, I think. We have about five to 10 more minutes before we end the live. So hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
One second, she's not connected to audio.
They're not connected to audio. think this is the biggest problem with Zoom. We have to sit and connect audio every time.
Now she's connected. Hi, Vandana. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Good evening. It's so nice to see you. For anyone who doesn't know, I don't know if Rakshita has, but I have taken sessions with Vandana, right? I think Rakshita has.
Right, yes.
Yes. So it's very nice to see you again. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm great. I think both of us are loving this live and so many comments and everything coming up. It's very nice. It's so much fun. So Vandana, we have you can ask us any question you want, hopefully about this translating topic and how to tackle this.
I try to translate when um, I could not able to frame a sentence. Then I try to translate the sentence.
Right. I think that is I agree with you, Vandana, when we're not able to construct a language, a particular sentence, or let's say convey a thought in English, we would want to translate. And that is one of the most common things. One way to tackle this is sort of break down your sentence rather than constructing it in a different language. Simplify your thought. What do I want to say? Word by word. What is my intention? What am I trying to convey through this particular sentence? And then from the onset, like from the beginning, start by framing it in English, right? So if you, let's say, make it in your native language and then convert it, translate it, and then say it, it'll take longer, and there are more chances that it would be incorrect. But let's say if you, from the get-go, start by slowly and steadily constructing that sentence in English, it would there are huge chances that it would have much less sort of errors when it comes to grammar. And B, it would definitely become more convenient with you as time passes. I'm not saying the first time is going to be easy. It definitely would be out of your comfort zone. But as time passes, this process will definitely become more smoother and easier.
But when I practice, I can speak properly without fumbling. Any you have remember our first session?
Yeah.
You have come a long way, by the way. You improved a lot. I think you're one of the success stories of Clappingo, because I remember when we had our first session together. Hello?
Yes.
Was my internet unstable?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I think mine is. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. So I remember when we first had a conversation, you were really, really nervous and confused, I think, if I'm not wrong. And now when I look at you and we have a conversation, it's so easy to talk to you, because it's become a thing where I think you're not nervous to make mistakes anymore. That's why you're more free flowing and you're like, okay, fine, I'll get through this. I know I'll get through this. Right?
Actually, earlier I know grammar and I know vocabulary, but I can't speak. And after joining Clappingo, I got to know that
good correction.
For speaking skills, I have to speak.
Yes, obviously, like I said, if you want to become a cricketer, you have to play cricket. You can't just look at cricket and become a cricketer. So again,
I'm doing only grammar for 15 years, I think. Whenever I want to speak, I started doing grammar.
So you were only focusing on theoretical knowledge, not practical experience, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, see, this is one of the biggest problems that we've noticed, that's why our founder decided to make this platform, because we can read, write, listen, understand English, but where do we speak? There's no one to speak to. Most people don't have an environment. Most people don't know if they're talking to someone who's good at English, because when you don't know something, anyone who knows anything becomes like, oh my God, you know so much, right? So it can be a little scary.
I'm very thankful to Clappingo.
Thank you so much.
And that, because it was not in my wildest dream that I can speak.
See, again, every time I see someone who's improved through Clappingo, I tell them, please go through the ambassador program. We are looking for a new face of Clappingo, so go apply for it. You can win 10,000 rupees as a cash prize, and obviously you can be the face of Clappingo. Have you seen the content? Have you seen the instructions on the Instagram page?
Yeah, I have seen it, and I I will be happy if I get this, but I don't think I am.
You're not comfortable with this? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm comfortable, but I think I'm not able right now.
Okay, because
for
of
this.
some variables, some resources, any issues?
No, I actually I don't speak that much.
See, I think this is a limiting thing where it's like, I don't think it's going to work out, or I don't think I'm going to win, right? But I keep telling people you're not going to win the lottery if you don't buy the ticket, right?
Actually,
Winning,
there is written that uh, like and share will. I mean, like and share will decide that we will win or not.
but you don't know
Like,
who you're up against. What if?
no. Actually, I don't have so much friends on Instagram uh, and
So what we've done is yesterday or day before yesterday, we've changed the rules a little bit. Now you don't have to post it. You just have to make the video. And there's a form on our Instagram bio. So if you open the form, you can go through the instructions and you just have to submit the video. You don't have to put it up publicly.
okay.
So if you are comfortable, if you wish to do it, make the video, fill out the form and
No,
put the video in the
I
form.
am comfortable and I have written something for.
Oh, you've commented on the post.
No, I have written myself that I will speak this if I make a video.
Oh, okay. Nice. So you made a script basically.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. I'm looking forward to seeing your application. Please do it. I'm very excited to see the application. So if you have the time, please do go for it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Vandana. It was very nice to see you again. Hopefully, we'll see each other in a
And
session soon.
thanks both of you for giving me this opportunity.
No. I think we want more people to join the lives because we would love to see faces, and we want other people to realize, how you, or even I was scared when I initially started taking sessions. So people are scared when they do something new. I want them to know, like all of us, we want them to know that, hey, it's okay, just try it. At least try it
Is
because
anybody? Sorry.
yeah,
Is
go ahead.
anybody watching me?
Yes, there are a lot of people
You are on
watching.
live, like yeah, everyone is watching.
Sorry.
You were watching the live and now you are on the live. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously I would want them to know that it's completely fine. You should at least take a demo and understand how this works. And you are the example because you also were nervous, right, when you initially started. But now you realize that you can do so much more once you've gotten over that fear or nervousness, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I think we have crossed the 1 hour mark on the live, which I was not supposed to do. I was specifically told by
One second.
yeah.
One second. I want to Rakshita that some feedback about my speaking. Sorry.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to give you some feedback. I love this about Vandana every time I've had a session with her because I remember taking her demo. She's always asked me, can you please give me some feedback? And I personally am a huge fan of that because I feel like you grow from, you're competing against yourself. So feedback is a huge part. So my feedback for you is, Vandana, you spoke really well. You used words like wildest dreams. And I was so proud because I personally love that phrase.
Actually, I have read it somewhere.
You have,
So
and you use it really well and you use it correctly. So that was amazing. You corrected yourself wherever you went wrong, right? So we didn't have to step in, neither me nor Divya. And you were able to correct yourself. You went ahead, you framed beautiful sentences, and you were actually able to express all that you wanted to. One thing that I certainly love about Vandana, she doesn't alter her speed. at all. She speaks at her own speed, and I love that. It has a lot of grace to it, and it makes all that she says so very vivid and clear. If you would have noticed, like it's very hard to miss a word that she's saying because you completely understand her because that's how she enunciates and that's how she talks. So yes, I always enjoy listening to you, and your English is definitely improving.
Thank you.
Most welcome.
Should I leave?
So we will be ending the live in a minute anyway. We'll just say, we'll say the byes and we'll see if there are any more questions left. Mrs. Vandana, thank you so much for joining. It was very nice seeing you again. And hopefully, we can help you get to your goals and achieve them as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was interesting, Rakshita. That was fun. I always love it when people join us and share their views and experiences with us.
Definitely. It's such a refreshing thing, You get to hear another voice rather than our voices.
Yeah, obviously the comments are also amazing. Again, guys, we're really sorry if we missed any of your comments. We were really focused on a couple of things over here, whether it's our guests or our own, what we had to tell you in terms of value. But thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for the likes and shares. If you haven't already done it, please do it. Okay. And make sure that for the next live you join in. A couple of people have said that they would love to join the live. Although we don't have time for that today, we only had time for 2 guests today. You can always keep joining our lives, keep asking your questions, and every live you can just ask, hey, can I join? And one of our team members will send you the message on Instagram. Okay. Again, just the last reminder, we are looking for a Clappingo brand ambassador. And the instructions are on our Instagram page. See, everyone makes mistakes. It's completely fine. The instructions are on our Instagram page. Please go through it and you can win 10,000 rupees in cash prizes. You can work with Clappingo. You can meet us in team meetings and be part of the Reel and the Instagram content team. Okay, not just Instagram, but social media content team, basically.
And also, just so you know, we go live every Friday. So if you subscribe to this channel, the Clappingo channel, you'll get a notification every time we go live. So you'll know when we're live, and then you can put in your request and come and join us. And we would absolutely love to have you.
Smash that subscribe button, and next to it there's a bell icon.
Press the bell icon.
Press the bell icon, and then you'll get a message saying we are scheduled to go live at this time, or we are going live at this time. You will get all the notifications you need. Okay, so I think we have been live long enough. I think we should end this soon because the social media team specifically told me that whenever you go live, you always keep talking and then it goes over 1 hour. Please don't go over 45 minutes. But I think we had 2 very interesting guests today, so I'm very happy. I'm very happy that we got to do that. We will be coming out with the topic for the next live on our social media posts, so stay tuned on that. And I think that should be it. I think we've covered everything, right?
Yep.
Anything else, Rakshita?
Nope, it was just wonderful being here with you, Divyam, and having all these wonderful people with us.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, we'll be ending it soon. We'll be ending the live, and it was very nice seeing you. And thank you so much for all your loving comments. Okay, it was great seeing you. Bye bye.